A diplomatic row has broken out tonight between the British and Greek governments over the Elgin Marbles. Let's speak to our political editor, Chris Mason, who has the details. Chris, good to see you. We know the Greek Prime Minister is in London. What's going on?
So the Greek Prime Minister is in London. He met the leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, today. He was due to meet the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, tomorrow. That meeting, at the last minute, has been cancelled, with the Greek Prime Minister already here. And it's a row, as you say, about the Elgin Marbles, or Parthenon sculptures, as the Greek government call them, that sit in the British Museum in London. There's been a long-running argument about whether or not they should be returned, or at least sent back to Greece for a period of time. Now, the Greek Prime Minister was on the BBC yesterday talking to our colleague Laura Kuenssberg and talked about this, as he often does whenever he's asked questions by British journalists, and set out this argument about how he would like to see them at least loaned back to Greece so they can be, as he would see it, in their rightful place. They were brought to the UK by a British diplomat back in the 19th century, and he was asked that in an interview that touched on a whole load of other topics, not least illegal migration, which is an issue that matters to the Greek government and indeed to the British government. What I can tell you tonight is that the office of the Greek Prime Minister have said publicly and told the BBC that this meeting has been cancelled. They were told about its cancellation in just the last hour or so. It was due to take place at lunchtime tomorrow, and the office of the Greek Prime Minister saying that he is disappointed that Prime Minister Sunak has cancelled this bilateral meeting. It's the diplomatic language for a one-on-one meeting between two leaders at the 11th hour today. Greece and Britain have a very deep history of friendship and cooperation. He talks about topics that they would have discussed: Israel, Gaza, Ukraine as well as the Parthenon sculptures. And it's clear that the Greek Prime Minister is baffled and annoyed at this cancellation. So what is the British government saying in response? They acknowledge that at the heart of this row and the cancellation of this meeting is the whole question of the future of the Elgin Marbles, which the British government does not want to see returned on any basis to Greece. A senior Conservative source telling me this evening it became impossible for this meeting to go ahead following commentary regarding the Elgin Marbles prior to it. That's a reference to the Greek Prime Minister's remarks on the BBC yesterday. Our position is clear. The Elgin Marbles are part of the permanent collection of the British Museum, and they do belong here. It is reckless for any British politician to suggest that this should be a matter of negotiation or subject to negotiation. So a public row breaking out this evening between two European governments whilst the Greek Prime Minister is here in London and had been expecting this meeting with the British Prime Minister, a meeting that now will not happen. Instead, he is being offered a meeting, I'm told, with the Deputy Prime Minister instead.
Yeah, if a gap's opened up in his diary, Chris, we assume he's probably not going to go to the British Museum, is he, given the anger over that sort of stuff. And you're right, I mean, he was talking, wasn't he, with Laura Kuenssberg at the weekend, saying that it's like if you cut the Mona Lisa in half, you're going to have half of it at the Louvre and half of it at the British Museum. And we know tensions run really high over these Elgin Marbles.
Oh, massively, because if you are in the Greek government, your view, as you articulated it there in the quotation from yesterday, is that this is fundamentally a piece of Greek heritage whose rightful home should be back in Greece. And you get some sense of the intensity of the row around all of this, that the two sides can't even agree on what to call it. Are they the Elgin Marbles or are they the Parthenon sculptures? They have different language to describe the very same thing. Now, the British government's view is very clear. They think that there shouldn't be any arrangement that sees these sculptures returning. The Labour Party, the opposition Labour Party, make the argument that if the museum was willing to loan them back, they would be comfortable with that.